Hello, and welcome to the third video in our pop-up webinar series. In this training, we're going to be talking a little bit about how to drive customers to your website, how to get traffic to your website. So I will go ahead and share my screen and we can get started. So driving customers to your website. Just a little bit of an overview. We're going to go over, is your website up to date and what are the things that you need to check to make sure it is. We're going to talk about search engine optimization. We're going to talk about search engine marketing, some social media things, and digital display advertising. Okay, so is your website up to date? First and foremost, you want to make sure that your website is up to date. Your website is your piece of virtual real estate, if you will. Make sure it has curb appeal, right? You want to make sure that it has that fresh and modern design, that your products and services are accurate, that you have accurate contact and operations info, and then that all your contact forms and buttons and everything on your website work well. Your website needs to provide value that converts visitors into paying customers. So if you're going to be driving people to your website, you want to make sure they're able to view accurate and informative content about your business and your services. Okay, so search engine optimization, SEO. So when we're talking about SEO, basically it's optimizing your website to rank higher in search engine results. At Richard Marketing, we use Yoast Seo, which is a plugin that is compatible with WordPress, and this helps us to determine if the websites that we're building are optimized for search engines. So I'll show in the next slide kind of what it looks like on the back end, but basically we're thinking about a few different things and we're thinking about SEO, and there's multiple different, there's endless ways to consider how to optimize your website for a search engine, but there's a few that we'll really hit on that are important. The first one is keywords. So, what are the keywords that people are going to be searching for when they are hopefully going to find your website? So if we're a bank, we might have people that are searching for banks near me, or checking account, or home mortgage, whatever it might be. When people type in those keywords, we want them to find our website. We want our website to come up on Google. So we're going to make sure that those keywords are optimized for our website and that we have integrated those keywords into our content. So that leads us to content. And with content, you basically just want to make sure that it's readable, that it includes your keywords, and that it's broken up, it's bulleted, it's got enough content, but the way that it's structured is easy to read, and use videos and other multimedia throughout your website when appropriate to keep it fresh. And along with keeping your content fresh, you want to make sure that your website is continually updated, because Google and these other search engines are going to give preference to websites that are being consistently updated, because then the search engine's algorithm knows, okay, this is a website that is still getting attention and this is still legit business, so it's going to give you preference. And there's a bunch of different ways to do that, but one way is having a blog on your website and keeping that up to date and consistent, or maybe it's embedding your social media feed into your website, so your Facebook or your Instagram or your Twitter, whatever it might be. And that way, as you're updating your social media, your business social media page, your website will also be updating with that content. So basically the search engine will think that you're updating your website when you're actually updating your social media page. So the last thing we'll talk about is links. So you want to have links within your content. So links to other pages on your website. Like an example would be a link that says contact us for more info, and that button links to the contact page on your website. The next thing to consider is backlinks. So backlinks are basically links from other websites to your website. So it's showing search engines that it's basically votes from other websites in the eyes of search engines. So it's showing that your content is valuable and credible and useful. So, Google's going to give it a higher ranking. And then also maybe linkable assets, like that's one way to get backlinks onto your website from others. So having a valuable blog post or video or something on your website that other websites are going to want to put on theirs and link to, and eventually that links to your website. And the last thing with links is making sure that your broken links are built and replacing dead links, basically. Like your 404 page, you want to make sure that that is a link to a website. Okay, so Yoast Seo, I kind of talked about this. It's a plugin that you can add to the back end of your website, and you basically just work through these different steps. And this is just a snippet. There's some other tabs and steps that you need to go through to make sure that it's totally SEO friendly, but basically it'll give you a score. So if it's green, that means like, yep, Yoast is giving this the go ahead. This is the right length. This is the right type of title. If it's this orange, or if it's red, then yeah, it needs a little bit of attention. And here's where you'll choose keywords, and you'll see like this snippet preview here is how your website's going to show up on Google, how a specific page is going to show up on Google. So you want to make sure that whatever this title and this meta description is really descriptive enough and enticing enough that if somebody sees that in their Google search, they are going to want to click on it and come to your page. Okay, search engine marketing. So not unlike SEO, this is a good way to get people to your website based on some different keywords and things. But the difference between SEO and SEM is that SEO is done within the content and on the back end of your website. And SEM is utilizing paid ads that show up in search engine results. So you do this by setting up different ad campaigns, and you can do this through Google Ads. And basically, so think about when you are typing something into Google and you look at the top of Google and there's one of the search results says ad on it. Now that's a Google ad. So when you go ahead and set up Google Ads, you need to first buy keywords. So you're buying keywords that someone will likely be searching for when they're looking for your products or your services, or maybe even your competitors, okay? So keywords are crucial to the success of your search engine marketing. And, when you're determining which keywords are right for you, there's some different tools you can use, and Google also gives keyword suggestions, but it's really digging deep and thinking like somebody that's going to be searching for your products and services. What would they be searching? What could they possibly search that could lead them to you? So when it comes to search engine marketing, there's really 3 types of campaigns that we typically run. The first one is a brand management campaign. There's products and services and competitor campaigns. So a brand management campaign is basically your business's name. So when somebody is searching for your business specifically, this is where your ad is going to make sure that you're brought to the top of Google and that they can find your website. With a products and services campaign, it is what it sounds like. So we would set up this campaign based on what you offer. And again, like if I'm a bank, right? So we have checking accounts and we have loans and all those different things. We're going to set up campaigns maybe for those specific services we have. Or, with the coffee shop, we might have products and services that are based on different coffee things, or donations and charities in our area. We might do our products and services campaign based on that, so that when someone's looking for, ways to give back, our coffee shop might pop up. And as for competitor campaigns, these are really kind of interesting because you can buy your competitor's name, and then when somebody searches for your competitor's name, when they search for your competitor's business in Google, your ad will pop up. So hopefully they'll click on your ad and it'll take them to your website, and you will potentially be able to convert and get that business. So to determine the success of these search engine marketing campaigns, we typically will look at what we call a click-through rate. And this is basically how many people have seen it versus how many people actually clicked on the ad and went to your website. And if we look at around a 2% click-through rate, we're happy with it. And there's also an option with SEM to set up a phone number. So you can look and see how many phone calls specifically came from your ad. And this is kind of like a Google generated number that's, you can kind of see some information about the people that have clicked on it and called straight from the ad. You can't see who it was specifically, but you can get a little bit of information, and you can see that's one way to track, conversions and how well the ad is doing. So here's just kind of the structure that I was talking about. So you can see here, you've got your account here. And then underneath your account, you can have, a couple of different campaigns. Let's say this was a products and services campaign and a competitor campaign. And then underneath each campaign, you can have different ad groups and different keywords within those ad groups. So, within our products and services campaign, we chose 3 of our services that we wanted to talk about, or 2 of our services, whatever it might be, and we created ads based on those. And then with our competitor campaign, maybe we did a couple of different ads that we thought that we'd want to pop up if somebody searched for our competitors. Okay, social media. So if you watched our last couple of webinars, you'll know that there's a lot of good ways to advertise on social media and really bring people to your website and drive that traffic. And both paid and organic social media can drive traffic to your website. So a few things to consider are, making sure that your information is accurate on your social media. So make sure that your hours and your address and other details about your business are up to date, and especially on Facebook. Most importantly, make sure that you have a link to your website on your social media page. And then, there's paid social media advertising, there's organic social media reach, and, looking at your insights. So we'll talk about a couple of these. So the difference between organic and paid advertising on social media. I'll just run through these kind of quickly because we went over these in the last couple webinars, but if you didn't join us in those, you'll get a little bit of insight here. So for organic reach, you can see that would be this one here. This post that we had on our Richwood Bank Facebook page. So this is where you just post to your business's page without putting any money behind the post. So these posts that would send people to your website will have a link to your website in the caption. So you can see here, we put a link. You can often have some sort of like call to action that encourages them to leave social media for your website. Another great way to drive traffic organically is to maintain a consistent blog and to post your blogs on social media, because to read your blog, they'll need to click on the link and head over to your website. And then for paid advertising, this Richwood Coffee ad is an example for paid advertising. So with a paid social media ad, you can also include specific calls to action that will drive people to your website. So this one would be learn more here. That would be the call to action for this ad. And maybe the coolest thing that you can do is utilizing Facebook pixels. So we talked about this in the previous trainings, but a pixel is a snippet of code that you can insert into the back end of your website that basically help you to track and improve conversions. And you can use them for retargeting as well. So if somebody goes to your website from this ad and then goes back to Facebook, you can serve them ads based on their activity on your website to hopefully get them to end up converting and being a paying customer. So, and based on the parameters and audience you set, it will change kind of what how this works. So, say they went all the way through the checkout process and abandoned their cart on your website, and then they go back to Facebook. Well, Facebook could maybe serve them ads as a nice little reminder of what could have been if they would have, went and converted in, paid for whatever and went through with their transactions. So hopefully if they see that shirt that they left in the cart on your website, maybe they'll click on that ad and they'll go back and they'll purchase that item. So looking at your insights a little bit, if you're not really sure what you're doing is working, just look at your insights. So the back end of your business social media page has a gold mine of information about your audience. You can see information about how much traffic is going to your website, the different information about the people that are going to your website and how they're behaving, their demographics. And this is just a really basic snippet of some of the back end of one of our social media pages. But another way that you can get some of this information would be to look at Google Analytics, which you should have linked to your website. And this will show you where the traffic is coming from. So this will show you, is traffic from your website coming from organic search, or is it coming from social media? Is it coming from, and specifically, is it coming from Facebook or Twitter or what have you? So that's a nice way of knowing kind of what is working. Okay, so digital display advertising. So digital display ads are basically, as you can see here, graphics placed on websites or apps or social media through banners or other formats made of, you can do text, images, video, etc. And some things we'll talk about here are ad placement, calls to action, retargeting, and geofencing. And, these digital display ads, they can be a really effective way to get your message in front of the right people. And we'll talk about ad placement a little bit. So ad placement and calls to action. So just like with social media, the targeting options are basically endless, and you can get really specific even on which websites or, which types of websites your ad might appear on. So you can see the example here. We chose Yahoo News, and we have a Richard Bank ad, banner ad here on Yahoo News. But maybe your business, you own a baseball camp for kids, and you're looking for more people to sign up. You're likely, you're likely going to target parents of a certain age, maybe with a specific income, and you would place that ad on sites that they might frequent. Or maybe if you're targeting just dads that are interested in sports, maybe you go to ESPN's website and you target on there, whatever it might be. There's a bunch of different options. And then with that, you want to add some sort of enticing call to action that will encourage viewers to click and visit your website. So, here we have click to learn more, but maybe it's sign up today or something like that. Okay, retargeting and geofencing. So retargeting is really similar to what we were talking about with social media. So this graphic, you can see basically the visitor goes to your website, the visitor leaves your website, and then sees your ad on other websites. So very similar to the social media, but that they don't have to be on Facebook first, where with using pixels on Facebook, they would have to be on Facebook, click your website from your ad, and then go back to Facebook from your website. Here, they can just, it's a visitor that goes to your website from whatever means, and then when they leave, they're going to get targeted ads from you. And then with geofencing, you can choose specific geographic locations and serve ads in that radius. So for example, if you own a hardware store, you might geofence maybe your competitor's location or maybe a new housing development and serve ads to people who are there. Basically, you're leading them to your website and your business. So this is just an example of what geofencing could look like. This was a quote that we had sent out to a client. And we targeted, in this one, we targeted Delaware County, Hardin County, Logan County, and Union County. And we got specific on which websites we wanted to geofence, or that we wanted our ad to land on, and then kind of what the population, average income, and those kinds of things are in that area. All this information was here. Okay, so hopefully that gave you a little bit of insight on some other ways that you can drive traffic to your website. Having a good website is so crucial to the success of business nowadays. And people go to a website a lot of times before they ever decide to, go to a store or make a purchasing decision. So having good information there and then having ways to drive people there to see what you offer is something that you should really consider. If you have any questions on anything from this training today or just anything in general, please feel free to reach out to the Richwood marketing team.